you will own nothing and be happy. That's the cliff notes on Ubisoft's recent comments. Apparently, they think we need to get comfortable with not owning things, specifically video games in this instance.
Yeah, that one, it honestly didn't sit right with me. My Steam library is huge, but being told I should accept not having ownership, that feels borderline dystopian.
Exactly. And it's not just games. Think about software. Adobe Creative Cloud, it's like you're tied into this never-ending subscription cycle. You're not owning the tools. You're kind of leasing your creativity.
Right? You're dependent on that monthly payment to access tools you've spent years mastering. And on top of that, you're risking losing access to your own projects. I mean, if a company changes its pricing or just pulls the plug.
Yeah, or if you want to break up with Adobe and use other software. Boom, gone.
There's something about owning physical media, whether it's software, movies, games, or even music. There's this sense of permanency. I have been collecting these things for years, and even now, decades later, they're still mine to use. No company can take that away.
Yeah, totally. Oh, that physical ownership, it's not just about practicality, but also peace of mind. You've got it. You can literally hold it in your hands, but with digital only, you're kind of at their mercy. And what guarantees do we have?
None, really. Remember how some old music servers got shut down a few years back and people lost everything they'd paid for? And that's not even rare anymore. It's becoming the norm.
But the saddest bit is how we just roll with it. It's so convenient that no one stops to think, wait, do I actually own this? And companies they know will prioritize convenience over rights every time.
I don't know if we even have a choice anymore. Again, look at Adobe. If you're a creative professional, it's practically impossible to switch to anything else without relearning everything. They've built this reliance system where if you leave, you're kind of starting over. That's, well, frustrating.
It's like they've architected this kind of digital captivity. Sure, it looks shiny, but once you're in, good luck breaking out.
It's a tax on your creativity and almost like you no longer even own your own work.
So, slaveware.
That's an interesting way to put it.
Let's pick up on that frustration for a moment. How companies not only make it hard to own what we buy, but sometimes even block us from fixing it when it breaks. Doesn't that just sound like the next level of ridiculous?
It does, but that's the reality for so many modern products. I mean, think about cars. You can't just take your car to any mechanic anymore. Manufacturers restrict access to tools and parts. It's frustrating.
In 2018, BMW locked heated seats behind a subscription service. $18 a month to keep your ass from freezing to your seat. There are zero reasons to put a feature like this as a subscription. You already bought the car.
So if those heated seats fail, not only would you continue to pay a subscription, you would have to bring it to a certified BMW shop and pay a premium for your premium.
Let's just go back to bicycles. This is getting out of hand.
And it's not just cars. This is happening with phones, computers, even farm equipment. Like you've got farmers out there who can't fix their own tractors because everything's locked behind proprietary software. It's insane.
Yeah, it's as if the entire landscape has shifted. Back in the 60s or 70s, you could grab schematics with your purchase. Everything was repairable. Now, companies act like repairing your own stuff could, I don't know, void the laws of physics or something.
And that's exactly what the right to repair is about, right? Like pushing back on this. I was reading that organizations like iFixit have been advocating for the past decade, trying to get laws passed.
And it's working. To a degree. You've got laws active in 24 states now, and in 5, New York, California, Minnesota, Oregon, and Colorado. Electronics repair legislation has passed. It's a win, for sure, but it's still an uphill battle.
Right? And even then, there are these loopholes. Companies find ways to say, oh, sure, you can repair your things, but only with our parts, our tools, and oh yeah, they're ridiculously expensive. So are we really winning?
Not entirely. But the movement itself is gaining awareness, and I think that's key. Americans, about 1 in 5, are now directly impacted by these laws, which is a big deal. it's proof that culturally, at least, people value the idea of owning and fixing their stuff.
And it's such a no-brainer. I mean, if you bought something, you should be able to maintain it, tinker with it, whatever.
This idea that a product is more like a lease, it's absurd. Honestly, it feels like a power grab.
It is. Plus, it forces more waste. And when repair isn't an option, people just trash an entire device over, I don't know, a dead capacitor or something equally fixable. That's bad for the environment and consumers.
Exactly. But this corporate resistance, it's embedded. Like, I heard that some companies even block third-party repair shops from accessing basic parts. It's literally cheaper to buy a new item. Not because it has to be, but because they've made it that way.
And they fight back hard. We've seen companies throw so much money into lobbying efforts to stop right to repair legislation. They frame it as protecting trade secrets, but most times it's just about control.
It's about keeping you dependent on their repair services, their parts, their everything. And they'll couch it in convenience like, why worry about repair? Just get a new one. Slowly, they've conditioned us to think this is normal.
It's not, though. That's why I'm encouraged by movements like this. They're a reminder that, hey, we don't have to roll with these rules. If we keep the momentum going, we might see a real shift eventually.
Yeah. Still, until then, it's up to us, consumers, to push back where we can. Stick with brands that promote repairability, vote with your wallet, and honestly, just speak up about it.
All right, speaking of control, let's unpack this idea of slaveware, as someone put it. It's such a bold term, but honestly, it hits the nail on the head.
These endless subscriptions locking tools behind paywalls. It feels like users are being shackled to their software, just like how repairability is restricted. You're basically paying rent on your creativity.
Exactly. And the worst part? It's not just the financial commitment. When your access depends entirely on paying that subscription fee, you lose control.
It puts a metaphorical lock on your work. The years you've spent creating, building. That's, well, terrifying.
Yeah, it's like a trap. You invest all this time mastering a tool, looking you agent Adobe, and then even if you want to move to something else, you can't. You know, your projects are stuck. You're stuck. It's like they've designed the system to hold you hostage.
That's exactly it. They've created dependence. Compare that to tools you pay for once. Affinity, for instance. You buy it, you own it, you use it for as long as you need. No strings attached, no looming deadlines to keep using your files. It's a completely different mindset.
Right? And beyond that, there's open source software. There's such a beauty in those alternatives. Tools built by and for communities with actual freedom at their core. Tools like GIMP or Inkscape. You're not paying a cent, and better yet, you're not tied to terms that can change overnight.
Yeah, open source really demonstrates what's possible when profit isn't the sole motivator.
But it does rely on communities pitching in, whether through development or financial support. I think increasingly people are starting to realize the value in that kind of ecosystem.
Exactly. And here's the thing. There's power in how we respond. Like, supporting alternatives, whether it's open source or subscription-free software, that's a step in the right direction. But advocacy matters too.
Absolutely. Pushing for initiatives like Right to Repair fits into this broader picture too, doesn't it? It's all about reclaiming autonomy over our devices, our work, and even our choices. It's about opting for sustainable, user-centric practices.
It is, yeah, and we're seeing that shift more broadly. People are kind of waking up and asking, like, why am I okay with this? I think what we really need next is for brands and developers to take notice, to start giving us options again, not just for repair, but for how we pay, how we access our tools, everything.
And it's worth emphasizing that alternatives aren't just hypothetical. They already exist. If more people start seeking those out, it's eventually going to create market pressure. But, we have to start somewhere.
Totally. Whether it's moving to a tool like Affinity, supporting open source tools, or just raising awareness, every little action adds up. The more momentum we build, the harder it'll be for companies to ignore. So, with all this momentum building from people backing alternatives like open source tools to advocacy for the right to repair, how do we take it even further? It feels like consumers are finally pushing back, reclaiming some autonomy in this crazy consumer landscape.
It really is. And it's wild to think about how much has shifted. I mean, we're looking at a landscape where convenience often overrides our rights to, actually own what we buy, but it doesn't have to stay this way.
Exactly. If there's one takeaway from all of this, it's that we've got to be proactive. Whether it's supporting right to repair, looking out for subscription-free tools, or simply speaking up about the importance of consumer rights, every small choice matters.
Totally. And I think it's also about awareness, isn't it? Just opening people's eyes to how much control we've handed over and what we're losing in the process. Once you see it, you can start making changes, whether that's buying, it's not physical media, opting for repairable products, or even exploring open source alternatives.
Right? And honestly, technology should empower us, not make us dependent or worse, kind of stuck. I mean, we've all felt it, that moment of realizing how limited we are because of some subscription or a lack of ownership over our work. But that doesn't have to define the future.
Exactly. And it's about reclaiming that control, making deliberate choices that prioritize ownership and sustainability. And, while it might feel overwhelming, change always starts small. One purchase, one choice, one conversation.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So if you're out there wondering how to get a handle on your digital world and your business's digital presence, why not start now? Head over to modularity.us and get a quote today. Let's make sure your digital experience not only works for you, but also keeps you in control.
And that's it for today, folks. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into consumer rights in the digital age. It's been great talking, and we'll catch you next time.